They say the ocean is the last great mystery of our planet. But what if it's also a graveyard of forgotten gods and living monsters? For thousands of years, sailors, kings, and prophets described the same creatures across different continents, in different eras long before they could have shared a single word. How did they all imagine the same beasts? Were they all lying, or did they see something real? Tonight, we will dive into 60 mythical creatures that actually exist. Before we begin, let me know in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is for you right now. Let's begin the countdown. Number 1. Oh, the Aspidocalone, the island that eats. Imagine sailing across a calm ocean, exhausted from weeks at sea. You spot land ahead, an island with trees, rocks, and enough space to rest your weary crew. You drop anchor, light fires, and begin to cook your first hot meal in days. But then, the island moves. The ground trembles. The trees sway. The island starts to sink. You jump into your ship as waves rise like walls around you. And only then do you see the truth. What you thought was an island was alive. This is the Aspidocalone, a creature described in medieval bestiaries and early sailors' maps. Said to be larger than any known whale, it looked like a massive turtle or fish with a shell so wide it could be mistaken for land. Sailors claimed its back was covered in rocks, moss, and even small trees, making it the perfect illusion. The Aspidocalone was said to lure sailors in, only to drag their ships into the abyss once they anchored. Some believed it was cursed by God as punishment for human greed. Others thought it was a remnant of creation, an ancient beast left behind when the seas were still young. Modern scientists have linked the myth to real giant creatures like whales or volcanic islands that appear and disappear. But those who believe the legends insist that something massive still roams the deep, waiting for another ship to mistake it for land. Number 9. Yumabuzu, the spirit of the Black Sea from the Naissafe. On the most terrifying legends ever told by fisherman Yumabuzu, the sea spirit of the black waves. Sailors said it appears on calm nights when the sea is still as glass. Without warning, a dark shape rises from the water, smooth, round, and towering like a mountain. The creature has no face, only black skin and glowing white eyes that stare into the souls of those who watch. When Yumabuzu appears, the ocean turns violent. Winds scream, waves crash, and the ship is tossed like a toy. Some stories claim it demands a bucket. If the sailors give a wooden one, it fills it with seawater and sinks the ship. Only those clever enough to offer a bottomless bucket, so the water pours through, can escape its wrath. In Japanese folklore, Yumabuzu is said to be the spirit of drowned priests or monks who died at sea. Their souls, restless and furious, rise again in storm form to take revenge on the living. Modern accounts of mysterious waves and shadowy forms off Japan's coast continue to fuel the myth. Whether spirit or storm, Yumabuzu remains one of the most feared ocean entities in Japanese history. Number 8. Makara, the guardian of the deep. Across ancient India, the oceans were ruled by divine beings. Among them was the Makara, a creature both majestic and monstrous. In Hindu mythology, the Makara served as the vehicle of Varuna, god of the oceans, and Ganga, the goddess of the sacred river. It was said to have the body of a fish or crocodile, the trunk of an elephant, and the tail of a peacock, an impossible mix of power, beauty, and danger. But the Makara wasn't just a guardianette, was a gatekeeper. Temples across India and Southeast Asia are still decorated with carvings of the Makara, standing watch at entrances to ward off evil spirits. To believers, it was a protector of the divine realm, but to sailors, it was a sign of warning sightings, meant a storm was coming or that something ancient stirred beneath the surface. Some historians believe the Makara might have been inspired by real encounters with crocodiles or strange marine mammals. Others say it represents the human fear of the unknown, a creature born from our attempt to explain what our eyes could barely see beneath dark waters. And even today, deep-sea explorers describe bizarre, unclassified creatures that seem almost mythically, reminding us how much of the ocean remains undiscovered. Number 7. Cetus, the Greek monster of the abysing ancient Greece. The word Cetus simply meant sea monster, but one story made it immortal, the tale of Andromeda and Perseus. when the queen Cassiopeia bragged that her daughter Andromeda was more beautiful than the sea nymphs. The god Poseidon sent a punishment, a monstrous beast named Cetus. It rose from the ocean to destroy her kingdom. To save her people, Andromeda was chained to the rocks as a sacrifice. But before Cetus could devour her, the hero Perseus arrived, slaying the monster with the severed head of Medusa. Ancient Greek sailors believed Cetus was more than myth. They carved its image into coins, temples, and stars today. Even a constellation bears its name, Cetus. The whale? Many think the legend began with sightings of giant sea creatures like whales, sharks, or even prehistoric bones found along the Mediterranean. But others argue that the myth's persistence across thousands of years suggests the Greeks saw something far more terrifying than a whale, something no one could identify. The sea holds many secrets, and the myth of Cetus might be one of them. Number 6. Leviathan, the beast of chaos. From the depths of the Hebrew Bible comes one of the most powerful sea creatures ever described, the Leviathan, mentioned in the book of Job and the Psalms. The Leviathan was no ordinary beast. It was a dragon of the ocean, covered in impenetrable scales, breathing fire and smoke, and leaving a trail of boiling water behind it. It was said to be so large that when it rose, the sea itself trembled. In ancient Hebrew belief, Leviathan wasn't just a monster, it symbolized chaos itself. God was said to have created two of them, male and female, but destroyed one so the world would survive. The surviving Leviathan was trapped beneath the ocean until the end of days, when it would rise again in the final battle between good and evil. Over time, the myth spread across cultures. Christians, Muslims, and even early sailors all described versions of the same creature, a serpent that ruled the ocean's deepest realms. Some said it was a demon. Others believed it was a remnant from a forgotten age, perhaps a creature from before the flood. And as modern explorers map the ocean floor, discovering creatures that glow, hunt, and survive in impossible depths, many still whisper, what if Leviathan was real and it's still down there, waiting? We've explored just half of the ocean's most legendary monsters, and already the water feels darker. But the most terrifying ones are still waiting. In the next part, we'll meet the creatures that could shake the foundations of mythology itself, gods, dragons, and beings that once ruled the sea long before humanity learned to sail it. If you're enjoying this deep dive into ancient sea monsters, hit the like button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. And trust me, the next 5 creatures will make you think twice before you ever look at the ocean the same way again. Number 5. Ikutorso, the Finnish demon of the sea far in the icy waters of the north. Finnish sailors whispered about a creature so dreadful that even naming it brought bad luck. They called it Ikutorsotha in the Kalevala, Finland's national epic. Ikutorso is described as a gigantic sea demon with fiery eyes, a beard of seaweed, and tentacles powerful enough to crush ships like toys. He was said to rise during storms, bringing disease, chaos, and death wherever he appeared. To the ancient Finns, the ocean was a gateway between life and death. Ikutorso was the guardian of that gate. Some legends say he fathered monsters with the goddess of death herself. Others say he sleeps beneath the Baltic Sea, waiting to awaken when mankind once again offends the gods. When modern divers explore the dark, frigid depths of the Baltic, they often report strange shadows moving in the silt, too large, too slow, and too deliberate to be fish. Whether those shapes are real or just tricks of the water, no one can say. But the legend of Ikutorso still lingers, reminding us that even the coldest seas have their monsters. Number 4. Scylla and Charybdis. The twin terrors between Italy and Greece lies the narrow Strait of Messina, a passage that sailors have feared since ancient times. On one side, cliffs rise like jagged teeth. On the other, the sea churns in violent whirlpools. The Greeks believed 2 monsters lived here, Scylla and Charybdis. Scylla was once a beautiful nymph, transformed by jealousy into a horror with 12 feet, 6 heads, and 3 rows of razor-sharp teeth. She hid among the rocks, waiting to snatch sailors from passing ships. Across the strait, Charybdis lurked a whirlpool so massive it could swallow entire fleets. Ancient poets said she was the daughter of Poseidon, punished by Zeus for her greed and condemned to drink and vomit the sea 3 times a day. When Odysseus sailed this route, he was told he must choose lose a few men to Scylla, or risk losing his whole ship to Charybdis. That story gave birth to a phrase still used today, between Scylla and Charybdis, meaning trapped between two dangers. Even now, whirlpools and strange underwater currents near Messina line up eerily well with the locations described in the myth. Science explains them, but myth gives them meaning. And to anyone who's sailed through that narrow, trembling water, it's easy to imagine that Scylla and Charybdis never really left. Number 3. Jarmangander, the world's serpent in Norse mythology. There is one creature that stands above all others in power and terror: Jarmangander, the Midgard serpent. According to legend, the gods threw Jarmangander into the ocean when he was still young, but he grew so enormous that his body wrapped around the entire earth, biting his own tail. When he releases it, the world will end in a storm of fire and waves the day known as Ragnarok. Vikings believed that earthquakes and tidal waves were caused by Jarmangander shifting beneath the sea. During their voyages, they feared waking him. Some even claimed to have seen him rise massive coils breaking the surface, mist and steam following as if the sea itself was alive. What's chilling is how many other cultures describe similar beings, giant serpents encircling the world, sleeping in the ocean's depths. From Asia's dragon kings to the Aztec serpent god Quetzalcoatl, the pattern repeats. Could ancient people have witnessed real prehistoric sea creatures, massive, snake-like beasts now lost to time? Even modern submarines have reported sonar contacts of immense, flowing shapes in the deep Arctic seas, too big to be whales, too slow to be submarines. The world serpent may be just a myth, or it could be the ocean's greatest secret. Number 2. The Kraken. The terror of the Northview sea monsters have captured the human imagination like the Kraken. Born from the icy depths of Scandinavian legend, it was said to be a beast the size of an island, with tentacles that could drag a warship into the abyss. The first written account came from 13th century Norse sagas, describing the Kraken as a mountain rising from the sea. Sailors believed that when it surfaced, fish would swarm around it, so they would risk sailing close to catch them. But when the Kraken dove again, the whirlpool it left behind would pull every ship down with it. For centuries, people dismissed it as fantasy until the 19th century, when sailors began bringing back enormous tentacles and carcasses of giant squids. Some were longer than 50 feet, with eyes the size of dinner plates. Even now, live footage of giant squids is rare, and scientists admit we know almost nothing about how deep they live or how large they can grow. So maybe the Kraken wasn't a myth after all, just an exaggerated glimpse of a real creature that still hides in the black waters of the North Atlantic. And if one species like that could remain hidden for centuries, how many others might be down there unseen? Number 1. Tiamat, the mother of monsters. At the top of our list stands not a beast, but a goddess. Tiamat, the Babylonian mother of creation and destruction in the world's oldest recorded myth. The Enuma Elish Tiamat was the embodiment of the sea itself. At first, she was peaceful, a mother of life. But when younger gods rebelled against her, she became enraged, transforming into a colossal dragon of salt water, her body filled with serpents and chaos. Her battle with the god Marduk shaped the universe. Marduk slew her and split her body in two. Half became the heavens, half became the earth. From her blood and bones, the first humans were said to be made to ancient Babylonians. The ocean wasn't just a place, it was a living force that created and destroyed at will. Tiamat represented the unpredictable power of nature, something humanity could never fully control. Even today, her name lives on in fantasy and science, but the real meaning of Tiamat runs deeper. She is the reminder that the ocean itself is both our origin and our greatest threat. Number 10. Capricorn, the sea goat of the stars. We begin our countdown with a creature you might recognize from the zodiac, the Capricorn. But behind the calm symbol of ambition lies an ancient myth born from fear and fascination with the sea. In Babylonian legend, Capricorn was known as Enki, the god of wisdom and water, often depicted as a hybrid half-goat, half-fish. His goat half could climb the highest mountains, while his fishtail swam through the deepest oceans. Together, they symbolize the balance between earth and water, between chaos and order. But not all depictions were peaceful. In later Greek tales, Capricorn was the form that the god Pan took when fleeing the monster Typhon. As he leaped into the Nile, his lower body transformed into a fish to escape. Some sailors believed that sighting the sea goat meant a storm was coming. Capricorn rising from the deep to warn of disaster. It's strange to think of such a graceful creature bringing destruction. But the ocean doesn't care for beauty, it hides terror beneath calm waves. And the next legend on our list, it's said to live in the Caribbean, where it waits for ships to drift too close to the deep blue void. Number 9. Lesca, the monster of the blue holes. The tropical waters of the Bahamas. There are mysterious underwater caves known as blue holes, dark circular pits that seem to have no bottom. Locals believe these holes are home to a deadly creature called the Lesca, part octopus, part shark, and part nightmare. The Lesca is said to be over 100 feet long. Divers who have explored the blue holes report feeling sudden, violent currents, as if something massive was pulling the water down. Those who vanish near these spots are said to have been taken by the Lesca. Fishermen tell stories of it attacking boats, dragging entire vessels below without a trace. In some tales, its tentacles reach from the depths to snatch victims from docks and beaches. Even modern sightings continue: giant shadows under boats, bubbles rising from nowhere, and eerie sounds echoing from below. Scientists say these currents are natural, caused by pressure changes between the sea and the underground caves. But locals aren't convinced. They say the Lesca guards the passage between this world and another, where lost ships and souls drift forever. And if you think that's frightening, the next creature is worshipped, feared, and said to rule over the very spirits of the sea itself. Number Taniwa, the guardian and the monster to the Mbori of New Zealand. The ocean is alive, and its protector or destroyer is the Taniwa. These beings are described as massive serpent-like dragons living in deep rivers, dark caves, or beneath treacherous waters. Some Taniwa are guardians who protect tribes and guide canoes safely through the waves. Others are vengeful, dragging people into whirlpools or crushing boats that disrespect their territory. Each tribe tells a different story. Some Taniwa resemble giant eels or whales, while others have scaled bodies and fiery eyes. The common belief is that they are ancient spirits, able to shape the land, summon storms, and sense when humans disturb sacred waters. Even in modern times, construction projects in New Zealand have been delayed because of claimed Taniwa sightings. Elders warn that to ignore the creature's presence is to invite disaster. It's fascinating how one being can be both protector and destroyer, depending on who you are. But the next name on our list belongs to something far larger, so enormous. Number 7. Bahamut, the giant that holds the world in Arabian mythology. Bahamut isn't just a sea creature, it's a cosmic being. The legends describe it as a massive fish or whale, so vast that all the oceans rest on its back. Some versions say the entire world stands upon a bull, which stands upon Bahamut, who floats in a sea of mystery beyond imagination. No one can comprehend Bahamut's full form. Its head alone is said to be so large that no human, angel, or demon can measure its size. It swims in the dark waters beneath creation, supporting the weight of reality itself. Later, Islamic and Jewish mystics described Bahamut as a symbol of the unknowable depth of the universe, the endless sea that holds existence together. But sailors told it differently. They believed that when Bahamut moves, earthquakes happen. When it breathes, the tides rise and fall. If this myth has any truth, Bahamut isn't a creature, it's a force. A reminder that beneath the calm surface of the ocean lies, and far older than time. And while Bahamut holds the world in silence, the next creatures on our list move among ooze shapeshifters who can appear human by day and vanish into the waves by night. Number 6. Finfolk, the takers of the sea far to the north, off the coast of Scotland and the Orkney Islands. There are tales of mysterious beings known as the Finfolk. Unlike mermaids or mermen, they are not beautiful or kind. They are ancient, cunning, and obsessed with one thing: stealing humans. According to the old stories, the Finfolk live in a shimmering underwater realm called Finfolkahim, a palace made of silver and coral deep beneath the sea. They can transform into humans whenever they wish, walking unnoticed among coastal villages. But if they find a human they desire, they will kidnap them, drag them below, and make them their eternal spouse. Men who resisted were never seen again. Women taken by Finman male Finfolk were said to appear years later, staring out to sea, as if still hearing their captor's voice. The only way to ward them off, locals claimed, was with silver. The Finn folk despised it and would vanish if it was thrown into the water. Some say these stories were made to warn villagers against straying too far from shore. Others believe they were inspired by real encounters, mysterious figures seen walking out of the surf, glistening under moonlight. But whether real or myth, one thing is clear: the Finn folk are not to be trusted so far. We've uncovered beings that guard, deceive, and devour. But the next 5 will take you deeper to where the ocean turns black and the line between God and monster disappears. From ancient serpent kings to the legendary Kraken itself, Part 2 will reveal the true rulers of the deep. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and press the bell icon. And before we go, tell me, where are you watching from? And what time is it for you? Number 5. Oannes, the messenger from the deep end, the oldest records of Mesopotamia. Before any known religion had taken shape, the Babylonians wrote of a creature that rose from the Persian Gulf every morning. His name was Oannes. They described him as half man, half fish, his body covered in shimmering scales, his head human, but wrapped in the form of a great sea creature. Unlike most monsters, Oannes did not bring death. He brought knowledge, according to the ancient texts. Oannes emerged from the sea to teach humanity language, mathematics, agriculture, and law. When the sun set, he would return to the ocean, disappearing beneath the waves until dawn. Some modern researchers link Oannes to the later stories of gods like Enki or diving beings of water and wisdom. Others wonder if these ancient people saw something real, a humanoid from the depths, perhaps an early echo of alien contact. Whatever the truth, Oannes represents something unsettling: the idea that the ocean might hold not just monsters, but teachers, creatures that existed long before us and still watch, waiting for the right moment to return. And if Oannes brought knowledge from the sea, the next creature on our list brings only death. Number 4. Eachwish, the killer of the Loch, Scotland, is home to many eerie waters, but none are as feared as those haunted by the Eachwish, the water horse. Unlike the Kelpie from earlier tales, this monster doesn't just drown its victims, devours them. The Eachwish often appears as a handsome horse near lakes or coastal inlets. It tempts travelers to mount it. The moment they do, its skin turns slick as oil, trapping them in place. Then it charges into the water, disappearing beneath the surface. When the creature resurfaces, only the liver of the victim floats to shore. Locals took this as a grim signature, the calling card of the Eachwish. Some stories say it can also take human form, walking among villages as a stranger, with seaweed tangled in its hair and water dripping from its clothes. If you notice that detail, run. Once it marks you, there is no escape. Fishermen along the Scottish Highlands still whisper that certain lochs remain cursed, that ripples can appear without wind, and that eyes sometimes glimmer just below the surface. Whether spirit, demon, or something else entirely, the Eachwish reminds us that not all horses run on land. But while this creature preys on humans, the next one rules entire worlds. Number 3. Nija, the serpent kings of the deep across South and Southeast Asia. The oceans and rivers are said to belong to the Ngas, divine serpent beings who dwell in vast underwater palaces made of jewels and light. In Hindu and Buddhist mythology, Ngas are both protectors and destroyers. They can bless the land with rain and fertility, or curse it with floods and droughts. Some appear as gigantic cobras with multiple heads, others as humans with the eyes of snakes and voices that echo like thunder underwater. Legends tell of the Nga king, Vasuki, who once wrapped his massive body around Mount Mandara so the gods could churn the ocean of milk and create the elixir of immortality. His strength kept the cosmos turning. But the Ngas are not to be angered. They guard sacred treasures and hidden passages between worlds. Fishermen in India and Thailand still offer prayers before setting sail, asking the Ngas for mercy. A sudden whirlpool or strange ripple is often taken as a warning that one is near. Some temples even claim to house real Nga relics, massive scales and bones found near rivers after storms. Scientists can't explain them, and the locals don't try. To them, the Ngas are still very real, and the water remains their kingdom. But even their power fades before the song of what comes next, a sound that has lured sailors to their deaths for centuries. Number 2. Siren, the voice of death, No creature from the sea is more famous or more feared than the siren, long before they were softened into the image of singing mermaids. The original sirens were winged sea spirits of Greek mythology, part woman, part bird, whose voices drove sailors mad. As the centuries passed, the image changed. They became beautiful women of the waves, combing their hair on jagged rocks, singing songs so enchanting that men leaped from their ships to reach them. None ever returned. The story of Odysseus tells how he had his men plug their ears with wax and tie him to the mast so he could hear their song and live to tell the tale. But not all sailors were so clever. Whole crews vanished. Ships found wrecked against reefs that seemed to appear from nowhere. Some historians believe these tales came from natural sounds, wind echoing through cliffs or whales calling in the distance. But others think the siren represents something deeper, the danger of desire, the irresistible call of the unknown. Even now, people report eerie melodies over calm seas, voices that seem to drift from nowhere. Maybe it's the wind, or maybe the sirens never left. And if you think their call is terrifying, wait until you meet the creature that inspired every sailor's nightmare, the true monarch of the deep. Number 1. Kraken. The terror of the deep-nosed sea monster is more legendary or more feared than the Kraken. First mentioned in 12th century Norse sagas, it was said to dwell off the coasts of Norway and Greenland, rising from the depths to drag ships and sailors to their doom. Eyewitnesses described a mountain of flesh rising from the ocean, surrounded by whirlpools and storms. Its tentacles could wrap around entire vessels, splintering wood like driftwood. Even whales, the kings of the sea, were said to flee from its path. When the Kraken surfaced, sailors claimed the water boiled and the air filled with a stench of decay. Some believed it was not an animal at all, but a living island. Ships that anchored upon it were crushed when it descended again into the abyss. Scientists later suggested that the myth came from sightings of giant squid-real creatures that can grow over 40 feet long. But in older tales, the Kraken was far larger, stretching miles across, its eye the size of a ship's mast. To this day, stories persist. In 1870, the crew of a French ship recorded seeing a tentacled beast in the South Atlantic. In 1930, another was spotted off the coast of Norway, leaving behind enormous, suction-shaped scars on a whale carcass. We may never know what truly lurks in the blackest trenches of the ocean, but every time a ship disappears without explanation, every time sonar picks up a shadow too large to identify, one thought comes to mind: the Kraken might still be waiting. Number 10. The sea monk, the holy monster of the deep. In the 16th century, fishermen off the coast of Denmark caught something that left even the church in shock. They pulled from the sea a creature that looked like a man dressed as a monk, bald head, pale skin, long arms, and a robe-like body of scales. The creature was called the sea monk, or monkfish, though this was no ordinary catch. It reportedly had human-like eyes, a mouth that seemed capable of speech, and an eerie habit of clasping its hands together as if in prayer. Terrified fishermen rushed to show the creature to local priests. But instead of celebrating a miracle, the church declared it a demonic imitation, a mockery of God's image. Some believed the sea monk was a cursed monk who had mocked the sea during a storm. Others thought it was a fallen angel trapped beneath the waves. And some naturalists insisted it might be been a malformed shark, perhaps a giant ray or a squid, mistaken for something divine. Whatever it was, the body of the sea monk vanished shortly after its discovery. Some say it was buried in secret. Others whisper it walked back into the sea on its own. Since then, sailors claim that in fog-covered waters, a figure still appears, a pale monk praying just beneath the waves, watching any ship that dares to pass above. Number 9. Siguapa, the seductress from the sea. Now we travel to the Dominican Republic, where legends speak of the Siguapa, one of the strangest and most beautiful creatures said to haunt the shoreline. The Siguapa appears as a woman with dark skin, flowing hair, and one disturbing feature: her feet are backward. Fishermen who wander alone near the coast often hear soft whispers calling their names. If they follow the voice, they find a stunning woman by the water's edge, waving them closer. But once they approach, she disappears into the forest. When rescuers try to follow her tracks, they find footprints leading toward them, not away, because of her reversed feet. The trail always ends near the sea, where the sound of her laughter echoes. Some believe the Siguapa is a guardian of the ocean, punishing greedy fishermen who take more than they need. Others say she's the ghost of a drowned woman, forever luring men into the waves. Either way, the legend warns. If you ever hear a soft voice calling your name by the sea at night, don't answer. Number 8. Mu, the shape-shifting lizard goddess of Hawaii far across the Pacific. In Hawaiian mythology lives the Mu, an enormous sea lizard that can take human form. But unlike most monsters, the Mu isn't always evil. It's a guardian spirit, ancient, wise, and dangerously unpredictable. The Mu were said to guard sacred ponds, waterfalls, and hidden caves. They could control storms, summon rain, and even predict the future. In some stories, they appear as beautiful women in shining robes, testing the courage of travelers that anger them. And they reveal their true form, a massive black-scaled lizard with jaws powerful enough to swallow a man whole. Local legends tell that even today, if someone disrespects the sea or the land, sudden storms appear out of nowhere. The old Hawaiians believed it was the MO, reminding people that the ocean doesn't forgive arrogance. And when the tide rises quickly, faster than it should, it's said the Mu is swimming beneath the waves, watching, waiting, and deciding who belongs near her waters. Number 7. Alakan, the keeper of the deep from African mythology in the spiritual traditions of West Africa. Alakan is one of the most powerful ocean deities, the ruler of the deepest part of the sea, where human eyes can't reach. Alakan represents wealth, mystery, and death, because beneath the surface, all three coexist. Those who pray to Alakan ask for prosperity, wisdom, or the strength to overcome storms. But those who anger Alakan risk madness. It's said that the god's true face cannot be seen by mortals. Anyone who glimpses it loses their mind from its beauty and terror. In art, Alakan is sometimes shown as half human, half fish, crowned with coral and pearls. But ancient tales say that beneath this form lies something far older, a being made entirely of darkness and water. Fishermen from Nigeria and Benin still tell stories of waves that rise unnaturally tall, curling into shapes like faces. They say it's Alakan breathing, reminding humans who really owns the ocean. And sometimes, when a storm passes suddenly and the sea grows calm again, it's not mercy. It's Olakan's warning. This time, I let you live. Number 6. Lingbacker, the island that eats. Now we move north, into the freezing waters of Norse legend, where sailors once feared the Lingbacker, a sea monster so huge it was often mistaken for an island. Imagine this. Your ship drifts into calm waters after days of storms. You see a patch of land ahead, quiet, covered in moss, maybe the perfect place to rest. You drop anchor, you light a fire, you let your guard down. But as the waves begin to stir, you realize the island is moving. The ground beneath you rises, tilting slowly. And before you can escape, the island opens its jaws and pulls your ship into the sea. That was the Lingbacker, the heatherback, a creature said to lure sailors to their doom. According to Icelandic sagas, it could lie motionless for days, blending perfectly with the ocean surface. Even the great Viking heroes were warned never to rest on a small island that appeared suddenly after fog. Modern scientists often explain the story as volcanic activity, floating pumice, or hallucinations caused by hunger. But the old seafarers believed differently, said they could hear breathing beneath the waves. And when they looked down into the dark water, they saw an enormous eye staring back. Closing transition for part 1. We've uncovered half of our list, from the monk who prayed beneath the sea to the island that devoured ships. But what lies ahead in part 2 takes us even deeper into myth and terror. Because the next creatures aren't just legends, they were worshipped as gods, feared as devourers, and blamed for eclipses and earthquakes. So, stay with me. In the next part, we'll meet Atargatis, the first mermaid goddess, Jenny Greenteeth, the river which that drags you down, and the colossal serpent that might one day end the world itself. Number 5. Atargatis, the first mermaid goddess long before Disney turned mermaids into fairy tales. The people of ancient Syria worshipped Atargatis, the first known mermaid goddess. She was said to be half woman, half fish, and the divine protector of the sea. But her story isn't one of beauty. It's a tragedy soaked in guilt and transformation. Atargatis was a goddess of love who fell deeply for a mortal shepherd. When he died in her arms, her grief was so overwhelming that she threw herself into a lake, hoping to drown her sorrow forever. But the waters refused to take her life. Instead, they transformed her, scales spreading across her body, her legs fusing into a single shimmering tail. Ashamed of her new form, she hid beneath the water, where she ruled the ocean for eternity. Temples were built in her honor, priests sang her hymns, and her image, a woman with the tail of a fish, became one of the most enduring symbols in human history. She was the first mermaid, the origin of a myth that spread across continents. And to this day, in some Syrian villages, when a storm hits unexpectedly, locals whisper, "A tar goddess is crying again." Number 4. Jenny Greenteeth, the drowned witch of the waters. In English folklore, few creatures were as feared by children as Jenny Greenteeth. She wasn't from the open ocean, but from the still, murky ponds and rivers that seemed harmless until it was too late. Jenny was described as an old woman with long green hair, rotting teeth, and skin the color of algae. She lived beneath the surface, waiting for someone foolish enough to lean too close to the water's edge. And when they did, she'd rise silently, her long arms breaking the surface to pull them under. Parents used her story to warn their children, "Don't play by the water, or Jenny Greenteeth will get you." But some historians believe the legend began from something darker: drowned women whose bodies were never found. Sailors claimed that Jenny's laughter could be heard on quiet nights when the river was calm, echoing just before someone went missing. Today, if you see pondweed floating thick across a still lake, locals in northern England say Jenny's brushing her hair, and if you ever hear a splash when no one's around, run. Number 3. Bakunawa, the sea serpent that eats the moon. From the Philippines comes one of the most powerful legends of all, the Bakunawa, a gigantic serpent of the sea that could swallow the moon itself. Long ago, there were 7 moons in the sky, lighting up the world every night. But the Bakunawa, living deep beneath the ocean, was fascinated by their beauty. It rose from the sea, opened its enormous jaws, and swallowed one, then another, until only one moon remained. Terrified, the people began to bang drums, shout prayers, and throw spears into the sky, hoping to scare the serpent away. It worked. The Bakunawa spat out the moon and the light returned. But every lunar eclipse, when the moon disappears behind shadow, they say the serpent is trying again. Even now, some Filipino villages still perform old rituals during eclipses, banging pots and making noise to drive away Bakunawa. To them, it's not myth, it's protection. It's because the serpent hasn't been defeated, only waiting beneath the sea, hungry for its next chance. Number 2. Selkie, the seal that became a woman. Now we move to the cold waters of Scotland and Ireland, where the waves hide one of the most haunting sea creatures of all, the Selkie. According to Celtic legend, Selkies are seals that can shed their skins to become human women. They emerge from the sea under the light of the moon, dancing on the shore, graceful, silent, and heartbreakingly beautiful. But their magic lies in their seal skin. If a man steals it, the Selkie is trapped on land, unable to return to the sea. Many old tales tell of fishermen who found these skins and hid them, forcing the Selkies to become their wives. But though they bore children and lived on land, their eyes were always sad, staring toward the horizon. One day, they'd find their hidden skin, and the moment they did, they'd run back to the waves, never to return. Even today, locals in the Shetland Islands claim that when a seal looks at you too long, it might not be a seal at all. It might be someone who once loved you long ago, a Selkie, watching you from the water. Number 1. Jarmangander, the world serpent. And now we come to the most colossal creature in all of sea mythology. Jarmangander, the world serpent of Norse legend. Born from the trickster god Loki and the giantess Angrboda, Jarmangander was cast into the ocean by Odin himself, but it didn't drown. It grew and grew until its body circled the entire world, biting its own tail beneath the waves. That's why it is called Midgard serpent, the creature that encircles the earth. It is said that when Jarmangander releases its tail, the world will end. This event, known as Ragnarok, will begin with the serpent rising from the sea, spewing venom that poisons the sky and floods the land. During this final battle, Thor, the god of thunder, will face Jarmangander. Thor will strike the serpent with his hammer, killing it. The myth of Jarmangander is one of balance, destruction that completes the cycle of creation. But some believe this tale might have roots in something real. Ancient sailors describing enormous oceanic creatures, perhaps giant eels or whales, mistaken for a serpent large enough to wrap around the world. And when modern scientists map the ocean floor, finding massive trenches shaped like spirals, the old stories whisper again. Maybe Jarmangander never died. Maybe it still sleeps beneath the sea. Number 10. Tiamat, the dragon mother of chaos. Long before any mortal set sail, there was Tiamat, the ancient Babylonian goddess of saltwater. But she wasn't just a goddess. She was the ocean, endless, merciless, and alive. Tiamat gave birth to the first gods, but when her children betrayed her, she unleashed a storm of chaos, creating legions of sea monsters to destroy them. The young god Marduk faced her in a battle that split heaven and earth. When he struck her down, he tore her vast body in two. One half became the sky, and the other, the sea. Her blood gave birth to all life. Her bones became the mountains, and her spirit became the storm. To this day, every time thunder rolls over black waves, sailors say it's Tiamat's rage, a reminder that creation was born from destruction. Number Azaki, the cursed maidens of the deep and the misty rivers and lakes of Eastern Europe. Stories still whisper of Rizalki, pale beautiful women who rise from the water at night, calling out with haunting voices. But the truth behind them is tragic. Rizalki were said to be the spirits of young women who drowned too soon, betrayed, abandoned, or murdered, condemned by fate. They return to the living world once a year, glowing in moonlight, their laughter echoing over still water. To men who cross their path, they seem like angels, but those who follow their song vanish beneath the surface, pulled down by icy hands. Even today, some villagers still leave bread or flowers by the riverside, not to worship them, but to appease them. Because in the quietest hours before dawn, when the water turns still and the air feels heavy, they say a Rusalka is near. Number 8. Mizuchi, the serpent of Japanese rivers in Japan's ancient legends. Mizuchi was a serpent dragon that lurked in rivers, silent, venomous, and vengeful. It could poison the water with its breath and bring floods that erased entire villages. Unlike the wise dragons of later myths, Mizuchi was feared as a spirit of vengeance. It demanded sacrifices, and those who disrespected its waters met quick, brutal ends. One story tells of a brave warrior who challenged the Mizuchi by throwing 3 gourds into the river. He said, "If you are truly a god, sink them." When the serpent failed, he struck, slicing its head clean off. Since then, Japanese villagers have avoided the deepest pools of mountain rivers, believing that Mizuchi still sleeps beneath, waiting for its revenge. Even today, when a stream runs cold and silent, locals say the Mizuchi has returned. Number 7. Morgans, the drowned fairies of Brittany across the misty coasts of France. The sea whispers of Morgans water fairies who live beneath the waves. They are dazzling, immortal, and dangerously beautiful. Legends say the Morgans could charm sailors with their songs, promising love and paradise under the sea. But once a man followed them, he was never seen again. Their most famous descendant was Morgan Le Fay, the enchantress from Arthurian legend, believed to have inherited their power. Her island, Avalon, was said to float beyond the horizon, a realm hidden in fog where time itself stood still. To this day, fishermen on the Brittany coast speak of strange music in the mist, a melody that seems to come from nowhere, yet fills the sea air like a whisper. And they warn, if you ever hear it, never look back, because once you do, the Morgans will take you. Number 6. Pontus, the forgotten god of the deep. Before Poseidon ruled Olympus, before Neptune held his trident, there was Pontus, the original Greek god of the sea. Born from Gaia herself, Pontus wasn't worshipped in temples or prayed to by name. He was the sea, raw, endless, and alive. From his depths came every ocean god and creature that followed. Ceto, the mother of monsters, Nereus, the wise old man of the sea, and countless spirits that filled Greek mythology. But as time passed, his name faded from memory. The Olympians took his throne, and the world forgot the one who came before. Yet, the ancient Greeks believed that when the ocean turned calm and eerily quiet, that was Pontus himself, awakening, remembering, and watching over what was once his realm. The still sea, they said, was not peace, it was respect. The ocean was never just water. It was alive, filled with gods who could create, destroy, and command the tides of life itself. But these were only the first half, because in part 2, we meet deities so strange and powerful, their names were forbidden to be spoken aloud. They didn't just rule the sea, they were the sea. Tell me which of these forgotten gods fascinates you the most. And before you go, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 of the Forgotten Gods of the Sea and the rest of our Mythical Creatures series. Let's see how deep the ocean's mythology really goes. Number 5. Pontus, the primordial sea god before Poseidon ever claimed the trident. Before the Olympians rose to power, there was Pontus. He wasn't just a god of the sea, he was the sea. In Greek mythology, Pontus emerged from Gaia, the earth itself. No father, no creator. just the ocean coming to life. To the ancient Greeks, Pontus represented the raw, untamed power of the waters, endless, unpredictable, and eternal. He ruled long before humans or gods existed, when the world was chaos and the sea stretched forever. Some myths say Pontus fathered monstrous sea creatures, dragons, serpents, and even beings like Nereus, the old man of the sea. But Pontus himself wasn't evil. He was balanced, calm yet deadly, nurturing yet destructive. Imagine an ocean so vast and ancient that it doesn't need gods or rulers. That's Pontus, the sea before the world was divided. When water covered everything, even the mighty Poseidon had to respect him, because in the mythic order of the cosmos, Pontus was the sea's true origin. Number 4. Sea Mythical, the mother of oceans. From the stormy coasts of Scotland comes one of the most powerful oceanic spirits, Sea Mythical, also known as the mother of the sea. She's not just another mythic creature. She's the embodiment of life, warmth, and the turning of the seasons. Every spring, Sea Mythical rises from the depths to fight her eternal rival, Terran, the spirit of winter and chaos. Their battle decides whether the seas will be calm or furious, whether the winds will bring warmth or deadly cold to fishermen in the Orkney Islands. Her arrival meant safety, gentler waves, clear skies, and abundant fish. But when her strength faded, Terran storms would return, signaling the approach of winter. Sea Mythical wasn't just a goddess. She was the ocean's heartbeat. Her struggle wasn't for power, it was for balance. The legend reminds us that nature's peace always comes at a cost, that even calm seas are born from great battles beneath the surface. So next time you hear waves crashing against the rocks, remember, maybe it's not the tide, maybe it's the echo of Sea Mythical's ancient war still raging below. Number 3. Namo, the water beings from the stars. Now we move from Earth's myths to something cosmic. In the mythology of the Dogon people of Mali, there exists a being, or rather, beings known as the Namo. They were amphibious, half-human, and half-fish, descending from the sky in a great arc of fire and water. According to the Dogon, the Namo brought knowledge, language, and civilization. They were teachers, divine messengers sent from the stars, possibly from the Sirius system. What's eerie is that the Dogon people described the Sirius star system with stunning accuracy, thousands of years before modern telescopes could confirm it. So who were the Namo? Gods, aliens, ancient guardians. Some say they were the true origin of humanity's oceanic myths, the reason mermaids, mermen, and sea gods exist across every ancient culture. The Dogon believed that when the Namo left, they returned to the water, promising to come back one day. And that's the haunting part, because the legend says, when they return, the waters will rise again. It's a prophecy that still makes you wonder how much of our mythic past is actually a memory. Number 2. Kanaloa, the ocean god of the Pacific across the vast Pacific, where waves meet volcanoes and the sky seems endless. The Hawaiians worshipped Kanaloa, the god of the deep sea. He was the counterpart to Cain, the god of life and creation. While Cain brought the sunlight and fresh water, Kanaloa ruled the depths, mysterious, dark, and sacred. He was seen as both a healer and a destroyer. His symbol, the octopus. And here's the fascinating part. Ancient Hawaiian legends describe Kanaloa not as just one being, but as a force from the deep, a spirit older than the islands themselves. Some say Kanaloa was the first god to sail the ocean, the one who taught navigation, ocean wisdom, and the secrets of the currents. But others claim he's still waiting beneath the waves, sleeping, until humanity loses respect for the sea. The octopus symbol makes sense. Intelligence, adaptability, mystery in many myths. The octopus represents a bridge between worlds, and Kanaloa embodies that. He's not just a god of water, he's a god of depth, change, and ancient knowledge we've barely begun to understand. Number 1. Tiamat, the chaos dragon of the deep hand. Now we reach the very beginning, the first sea monster, the mother of all creation and destruction. In Babylonian mythology, Tiamat was the embodiment of the primordial sea, the salty chaos before existence began. From her waters, life emerged, but when the younger gods turned against her, Tiamat transformed into a monstrous dragon, scales like mountains, a body coiling through the endless sea, her roar shaking the heavens. She unleashed floods, storms, and monsters, including the first dragons and serpents. But eventually, the god Marduk rose against her. Their battle split the heavens and the earth, and when Marduk finally slew her, he used her body to create the world. Oceans became her blood, the sky her ribs, land her bones. Tiamat's death gave birth to life itself. She is chaos and creation. In one, the eternal reminder that from destruction, new worlds are born. Even today, Tiamat's name echoes in fantasy, literature, and legend, from Dungeons and Dragons to modern mythology. But her true origin is far older. She's not fiction. She's the first symbol of what humanity always feared: the sea's endless power to give and to take away. And there you have it, 10 mythical sea beings that shaped oceans, gods, and human imagination itself. From Tiamat's cosmic chaos to Sea Mythers' nurturing waves, each story reminds us of one thing: the sea is more than water. Number 10. Hippocampus, the horse of the deep-power journey, begins with a creature straight from ancient Greek mythology, the hippocampus. Half horse, half fish, this elegant yet eerie being was said to pull the chariots of sea gods like Poseidon himself. At first glance, the hippocampus seems peaceful, even majestic. Ancient mosaics depict it with the head and front legs of a horse and a long, coiling tail like a serpent's. But sailors once feared that meeting one was a bad omen. It meant storms were coming, and the sea was about to claim lives. Some legends say the hippocampus could control the waves by striking the surface of the ocean with its hooves, stirring whirlpools strong enough to sink entire ships. Others believed it guarded underwater palaces made of coral and gold, dragging down those who dared trespass near them. Interestingly, the word hippocampus later became the name of the brain region that controls memory, perhaps because this mythical beast, once seen, was never forgotten. But if you think a half-fish horse sounds strange, wait till you meet the next creature, a spirit that blends beauty with danger in a way no human could resist. Number 9. La Sirene, the enchantress of the Caribbean. From the blue depths of Caribbean folklore comes La Sirene, the sea goddess who rules both beauty and chaos. She's often described as breathtakingly beautiful, with flowing hair, glimmering skin, and a voice that could make even the strongest sailor abandon everything. But behind that beauty hides a dark truth. La Sirene is said to drag her victims beneath the waves, not out of malice, but to take them to her underwater kingdom. Those who return are never the same. They speak in strange tongues, carry an otherworldly glow, and are haunted by dreams of the sea. In Haitian Vodou, La Sirene isn't merely a monster, she's a loa, a spirit of the ocean, wealth, and music. Some people still honor her with offerings of mirrors, perfume, and jewelry, because legend says if you please her, she can bless you with fame and fortune. But if you anger her, she'll pull you into the deep, your last sight a reflection of your own fear in her shimmering mirror. Her name might sound familiar because she shares roots with another well-known legend, one that has inspired countless tales of temptation and terror. Number 8. Tangaroa, the sea god of the Pacific. Now, we sail into the heart of Polynesian mythology, where the mighty Tangaro rules the endless ocean. To the Mbori, Samoan, and Hawaiian people, Tangaroa isn't just a creature, he's the very embodiment of the sea itself. Every wave, every fish, every drop of salt water belongs to him. Tangaroa's story is ancient and cosmic. He's one of the original gods born from the union of Skyfather and Earth Mother. But when the gods of land rebelled against the gods of the sea, Tangaroa's wrath turned the ocean into a realm of storms and monsters. He unleashed creatures beyond imagination, massive serpents, living tides, and shadowy beings that could capsize canoes in seconds. Fishermen would whisper his name before casting their nets, asking for mercy. Those who forgot often vanished, their boats found splintered, as if crushed by an invisible hand. Even today, in some Pacific islands, elders say the ocean still remembers Tangaroa's anger. When the sea suddenly grows calm before a storm, they say it's him watching, waiting, deciding who deserves to return home. But Tangaroa's fury seems gentle compared to the next being, one whose charm has doomed countless souls across continents. Number 7. Mami Wata, the spirit of desire and dread across West Africa and beyond. Whispers tell of Mami Wata, a spirit of water, beauty, and mystery. Her name means Mother Water. But don't let the softness fool you. She's one of the most unpredictable beings in mythology. Mami Wata appears as a woman with long flowing hair, glowing skin, and a serpent coiled around her body. Sometimes she takes the form of a mermaid, sometimes a human. Those who see her are said to be forever changed. If she blesses you, you gain wealth, power, and unmatched charisma. But if you resist her or break her trust, she brings misfortune, disease, madness, or death. Many African sailors and river travelers once carried offerings of perfume or jewelry to please her, believing she could calm the waters or curse them forever. In modern times, Mami Wata has crossed oceans, appearing in Caribbean and Latin American folklore, merging with other sea spirits like La Sarone. It's said she still roams the coasts, glittering just below the surface, waiting for anyone who dares stare too long into the water. But while Mami Wata rules the surface, the next monster hides in the darkest part of the ocean, so massive that ancient sailors believed it could swallow ships whole. Number 6. Hefgufa, the phantom of the North Sea, the cold northern waters, where fog swallows ships and the horizon disappears. The Hefgufa lurks. This creature from Norse legend is often called the Phantom of the Sea, and for good reason. Medieval sailors described it as a mountain rising from the ocean, so vast that they mistook its body for an island. Some would anchor their ships on its back, light fires, and cook meals until the island began to move. By then, it was too late. The Hefgufa would open its massive mouth, releasing a stench that lured fish, whales, and ships into its gaping maw. It didn't chase prey, simply waited, patient and silent, letting the sea bring food to it. According to the Kongas Peel, a 13th century Norse text, there were only 2 Hefgufas in the entire ocean. Some believed they were the parents of all sea monsters, or perhaps the living embodiment of the ocean's hunger. Modern scholars think this legend might have come from sightings of giant squids or whales. But for the sailors of old, the Hefgufa was more than an animal. It was the sea itself, alive, waiting to consume anything foolish enough to forget who truly ruled the depths. We've met gods, spirits, and monsters from every corner of the ocean, more haunting than the last. But the 5 creatures ahead are far darker, from the demon god who feeds on souls to the dragon king who commands. Storms Part 2 will take you deeper than you've ever dared to go. If you're ready to face what's next, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and press the bell icon, and tell me in the comments, which of these ocean legends do you think could be real? Number 5. Dagon, the god who rose from the sea long before modern religion shaped the world. Ancient civilizations along the Mediterranean feared a powerful sea god named Dagon. To the Philistines, Dagon was a god of fertility and the ocean. But in later tales, especially those whispered in darker corners, he became something else, a half-fish, man deity who demanded worship through fear. Statues of Dagon showed a monstrous form with human arms, a scaled torso, and the head of a great fish. Some say he ruled an underwater empire filled with servants called the Deep Ones, creatures that could walk on land at night and vanish by dawn. When the writer H.P. Lovecraft revived the myth in his horror stories, Dagon became a symbol of humanity's insignificance before ancient cosmic powers lurking beneath the sea. In his version, Dagon is not just a god, it's a reminder that the ocean holds things older than time itself. Legends claim that Dagon's followers sacrificed humans to appease him, tossing them into the water where glowing eyes waited below the surface. Even now, fishermen in some parts of the world refuse to sail on certain nights, saying Dagon is awake. It's hard to tell where the myth ends and fear begins. But one thing is certain, the idea of a god who sleeps beneath the waves still chills the human imagination. And if Dagon is the ocean's priest, the next creature is its ghostly horse, dragging souls into watery graves. Number 4. Kelpie. The shape-shifting horse of doom. From the misty lochs of Scotland comes the legend of the Kelpie, a creature that lures travelers to their deaths. At first glance, it looks like a beautiful black horse standing near the water's edge, silent and motionless. But when someone climbs onto its back, the horse's skin turns sticky as tar, trapping its victim. Then, with a shriek, it plunges into the depths, dragging them under forever. Some stories describe the Kelpie as a shapeshifter. It can appear as a handsome man or a lovely woman, luring the lonely or the curious closer to the water. Once touched, escape is impossible. Only the sound of splashing and the sudden silence that follows remain in older Scottish folklore. Villagers would hang crosses or iron charms near rivers and lakes to ward off Kelpies. Parents warned their children never to play near the water after dark, because that's when the Kelpie hunts. It's said that sometimes, after a drowning, a single heart or liver would wash ashore, the only remains of those who met the creature. Scientists may call them accidents, but locals know better. The Kelpie, they say, still roams the waters of Loch Ness, waiting for the next careless soul who dares to believe the legends only a story. And speaking of sea gods and dragons, our next creature rules the storms themselves. Number 3. Ryujin the Dragon. King of the sea in Japanese mythology. The ocean belongs to Ryujin, the Dragon King. He is both protector and destroyer, capable of controlling the tides with a single jewel known as the tide bead. When calm, he grants safety to sailors and bountiful fish to fishermen. When angered, he stirs typhoons and towering waves that swallow ships whole. Ryujin's palace, the Ryugu-ji, is said to lie deep beneath the sea, built of coral and crystal, where time moves differently. A single day there equals hundreds of years on land. In one famous legend, a fisherman named Urashima Tar visits the palace and lives in luxury for what feels like days. But when he returns home, he finds that centuries have passed, and everyone he knew is long gone. Ryujin often appears as a giant sea serpent or a dragon, with shimmering scales that glow like moonlight under the waves. He commands turtles, fish, and sharks as his servants. In some stories, he even helps the first Japanese emperors, linking the royal bloodline to the divine ocean. To this day, Japanese fishermen still honor Ryujin before long voyages. A sudden calm on the water, they say, means the Dragon King is watching. But in other tales, that same calm is a warning, because when the sea falls silent, Ryujin is about to rise. But there is one creature said to rival his power, one so ancient it may have inspired the idea of sea dragons themselves. Number 2. Mermaid the Siren of the Seven Seas. Few legends are as widespread or as haunting as the tale of the mermaid. From Europe to Asia to Africa, almost every culture tells stories of half-human, half-fish beings who dwell beneath the waves. We often imagine them as beautiful, singing maidens with long hair and shimmering tails. But the original stories were far more sinister. In Greek myth, mermaids or siren songs so enchanting that sailors crashed their ships onto rocks trying to reach them. In Slavic folklore, the Rizalki were ghostly women who drowned men for sport. In Chinese tales, mermaids cried tears that turned into pearls if they weren't captured and sold first. Even Christopher Columbus wrote in his diary that he saw mermaids near the Dominican coast in 1493. He claimed they weren't as beautiful as stories said, but he was certain they were real. Many modern sightings could be explained by manatees or dugong's butt. That doesn't stop the myths. From the icy waters of Scandinavia to the tropical coasts of Africa, fishermen still tell stories of glowing figures just beneath the surface, watching, waiting. Some legends say mermaids can predict storms. Others claim they lure ships off course to protect the creatures of the sea. Either way, they remind us that beauty can be as dangerous as the ocean itself. But all these myths, every whisper of sea gods, sirens, and monsters, seem to lead to one final name, a name that embodies chaos, destruction, and the true terror of the deep. Number 1. Leviathan. The monster that devours the world. At the top of our list stands the most terrifying sea creature ever imagined, the Leviathan. Mentioned in the ancient Hebrew scriptures, the Leviathan was described as a massive serpent or dragon that ruled the seas. Its scales were impenetrable, its breath set the ocean on fire, and its roar could shake the heavens. According to the book of Job, God himself created the Leviathan as a symbol of his power, a creature so fierce that no human could hope to subdue it. Medieval scholars believe the Leviathan was the very embodiment of chaos, the beast that would rise at the end of the world to battle angels and bring about the final flood. In later Christian and Jewish mysticism, Leviathan became one of the great demons of hell, representing envy and destruction. Some stories say it sleeps beneath the sea, chained by divine power until the day of judgment. Others claim it still moves in the depths, its shadow mistaken for underwater mountains. Throughout history, sailors have feared seeing massive shapes beneath their ships, eyes the size of lanterns, waves rising for no reason. Was it a whale, a storm, or the Leviathan awakening for a moment before sinking back into darkness? Even today, oceanographers admit we've explored less than 5% of the sea. The rest remains untouched, endless abyss where ancient myths might not be myths at all. If creatures like the Leviathan once existed, maybe they still do, waiting hidden in the black waters of the Mariana Trench. Number 10. The Abasi Yakut mythology. Siberia. Deep within the icy plains of Siberia, where the temperature drops below -60, people speak in whispers of the Abasi, demonic beings said to rise from the underworld. According to Yakut mythology, the Abasi were born from the shadows of a fallen god. They feed on fear chaos, and human souls. Descriptions of them vary. Some say they have 2 faces, others say 1 eye in the middle of their forehead, and a body covered in iron scales that no weapon can pierce. But what makes the Abasi truly terrifying isn't their strength, it's their ability to possess humans. Villagers claim that when someone acts strange, speaking in voices not their own or walking barefoot in snow without feeling pain, it means an Abasi has entered their body. Shamans would then perform rituals, burning herbs and chanting ancient words to drive the creature out. Modern historians see this as early depictions of psychological illness, but locals still insist. When the blizzard howls like a scream, an Abasi is wandering the tundra, searching for its next host. Number 9. Tikbalang, Philippines. From the frozen north to the humid jungles of Southeast Asia, the next creature lurks along mountain paths in the Philippines. The Tikbalang half-man, half-horse, the Tikbalang stands tall and gaunt, its long limbs covered in coarse hair, its eyes glowing like embers in the dark. It waits along misty trails, confusing travelers by shifting the path around them. No matter how many times you turn back, you always end up in the same place. Old folklore says if you ever feel lost in the jungle and your path keeps repeating, a Tikbalang is toying with you, but there's a way to stop it. If you can pluck 3 golden hairs from its mane, the Tikbalang becomes your servant for life. No one knows who first tried this or if anyone ever succeeded, but stories of lone wanderers found days later, eyes wide open, mouths frozen in silent screams, still circulate today. Some Filipinos believe the Tikbalang guards sacred forests, punishing those who disrespect nature. Others say it's simply a trickster spirit, proof that not every monster is purely evil. Number 8. In Pundulu, Southern Africa, lightning strikes are terrifying. But in Southern Africa, people once believed lightning wasn't random at all. It was the Impundulu, the lightning bird. In Zulu and Xhosa legends, the Impundulu is a massive bird that rides the storms, its wings made of electricity. It serves as the familiar spirit of witches, a loyal servant that brings both power and death. When it lands, the ground burns. When it cries, thunder answers. But the most chilling part, the Impundulu is said to feed on blood. Unlike most mythical birds, it doesn't just kill, it drinks. Legends describe it visiting sleeping humans at night, piercing their skin and draining them dry, leaving behind no trace but burn marks on the sheets. Some stories go further, saying the Impundulu can transform into a handsome young man to seduce victims before revealing its true form. Even today, in some rural parts of South Africa, lightning strikes on a clear day are whispered to be the work of the bird spirit still hunting in the skies. Number 7. Nuku'lavi, Scottish folklore. If the sea could vomit nightmares, they would look like the Nuku'lavi, the most feared creature of the Orkney Islands in Scotland. Part horse, part human, but with no skin. Its raw red flesh glistens with exposed muscles and veins. Its horse body merges with a grotesque human torso that grows out of its back, its long arms dragging on the ground as it gallops. Its breath is said to wither crops and spread disease wherever it goes. The Nuku'lavi is a demon of the sea, said to emerge only when humans pollute or disturb the ocean. For centuries, islanders believed outbreaks of plague or destroyed harvests were punishments from this skinless beast. But there's one weakness: the Nuku'lavi cannot cross fresh water. So when villagers saw strange, misty shapes galloping along the coast, they'd run inland, praying to reach a stream before it reached them. Even now, fishermen say that when a red glow appears over the northern waves on a moonless night, the Nuku'lavi is near, reminding humans of nature's fury. Number 6. Encantado, Amazon Basin. Brazil, the rivers of the Amazon are deep, mysterious, and filled with legends. Among the strangest is that of the Encantado, a shape-shifting river dolphin that can turn into a human by day. It swims like any other pink dolphin, playful and gentle, but at night it comes ashore as a beautiful man or woman dressed in white. Encantados are said to appear at festivals, seducing humans with music and charm. Once their victim falls in love, they lure them back to the river, never to be seen again. Some say they don't kill their lovers, but take them to an underwater city where time moves differently. A day in the river could mean years in the human world. Others claim the Encantado returns to visit the human world only during full moons, always wearing a hat to hide the blowhole it can never lose in the Amazon. Missing people near rivers are sometimes blamed on these seductive spirits. Even today, locals say never fall in love with someone who appears by the river at night, because it might not be human at all. From icy demons and lightning birds too shapeshifting, dolphins and skinless nightmares. The world's mythology hides creatures that defy imagination, but the ones coming next are even darker. In part 2, we'll uncover 5 beings so mysterious and ancient that their names barely survived the centuries. One of them is said to be older than humanity itself. So, before you go, tell me, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? Because in the next chapter, we dive even deeper into the forgotten side of myth, where legends become fear. Number 5. Kishi Angola. In the folklore of Angola, there's a creature both charming and deadly. The Kishi, it walks among humans, perfectly disguised as a handsome man. But its secret lies behind its head, because on the back of the Kishi skull hides a second face, a demonic hyena jaw with razor-sharp teeth. By day, the Kishi seduces women with beauty and charm. By night, when they are alone, the creature turns its head completely around. The hyena face awakens and feeds. The two faces symbolize temptation and danger, desire and destruction. Some tribes tell that if you hear laughter echoing twice in the jungle, one human and one beastly, you've already been marked by the Kishi dot to this day. Old Angolan stories warn against strangers who smile too perfectly. They say a real smile never hides teeth like knives. Number 4. Adaro Solomon Islands. In the remote Solomon Islands of the Pacific, fishermen still whisper about the Adaro, a sea spirit born from the evil side of a person's soul. When someone dies at sea, their spirit divides. The good half drifts upward to paradise, but the bad half becomes an Adaro bound forever to the ocean. It appears as a tall, humanoid figure with gills behind its ears, a sharp fin on its head, and a long, spear-like weapon made from a deadly flying fish. The Adaro rides the wind and the waves, sometimes emerging during storms to attack sailors. What makes it especially terrifying is that the Adaro doesn't always strike from the sea. Some legends say it travels within rainbows, invisible until it's too late. When fishermen looked up at shimmering arcs across the ocean and suddenly vanished overboard, their families knew the Adaro had claimed another dot to locals. The story reminds them to respect the ocean, because sometimes it doesn't just take your body, it keeps your soul. Number 3. Camasot's Maya civilization. From the ancient temples of Central America comes a god of darkness, so feared that even his name was forbidden to speak aloud. Camasotes, the bat god of the underworld. In Mayan mythology, Camasotes was a massive humanoid bat with razor-sharp claws and a thirst for human blood. He lived in a shadowy realm called Xabal, the place of fear. When night fell, he emerged from caves to decapitate humans and offer their heads to the lords of the underworld. Archaeologists have found carvings of bat-like deities across Guatemala and Honduras, some dating back over 2,000 years. Scholars believe these images represented disease, death, and sacrifice. But to the ancient Maya, Camasotes was real. They feared his wings fluttering in the darkness, believing that if his shadow passed over you, your fate was sealed. In modern Guatemala, caves once used for rituals still carry the names of the bat god. Locals say, if you enter alone, you'll hear the sound of wings and realize the legend never died. Number 2. Nkanyamba Zulu mythology. South Africa. In the mist-covered waterfalls of South Africa's Howick Falls lives a creature that blurs the line between serpent and storm. Described as a massive serpent with a horse-like head, it's said to control the weather, especially tornadoes and violent storms. According to Zulu legend, when the Nkanyamba rises from the deep pool beneath the falls, the winds follow it. If it's angered by humans polluting the water or disturbing the land, it unleashes chaos across the skies. Even today, locals refuse to swim in the falls, believing the creature still guards the sacred waters. Elders tell stories of whirlwinds forming out of nowhere, destroying crops and homes, and then disappearing just as quickly. Scientists explain these as natural microbursts. But to the people of KwaZulu-Natal, that's simply the Nkanyamba reminding humans that the Earth is alive and watching. Number E. Joragumo. Japan. In Japan, legends warn of the Joragumo, the binding bride. At first glance, she appears as a breathtakingly beautiful woman, her long hair shimmering in the sunlight, her kimono flowing like silk over water. But behind that illusion hides a creature waiting to strike, a giant spider, ancient and intelligent. The story says the Joragumo can control smaller spiders like an army. She weaves webs not just from silk, but from lies and charm. She lures wandering men to her home near waterfalls or abandoned houses. Once she gains their trust, her beauty fades, her limbs stretch, and she reveals her true form, a monster with fangs dripping venom. In some villages near Mount Fuji, shrines still exist dedicated to the Joragumo. Locals offer prayers not to summon her, but to keep her calm, because even legends need to sleep peacefully. The tale of the Joragumo reminds us that danger often wears a beautiful face, and that in every myth there's a shadow of truth about fear, desire, and the thin line between the two. These 10 forgotten creatures, from the skinless demon of the north to the seductive spider of Japan, show how mythology captures our oldest fears. Each one was born from something real: storms, death, lust, or the wilderness itself. Over centuries, those fears took form and became monsters. But perhaps the most haunting question isn't what they were, it's why so many cultures, separated by oceans and time, imagine beings so similar. Maybe they weren't imagining them at all. Tell me, which of these mythical creatures did you find the most chilling? And where are you watching from? And what time is it for you right now? Because somewhere in the places these stories were born,